So welcome, Phil. This is the first podcast that I've ever done. I'm going to call this the series, if I can get away with it, Behind the Screens. I want to give a little bit of a perspective about just what happens behind the scenes of a marketing agency, web design agency, what we do to deliver for the clients, and the rest of it that perhaps people are maybe not aware of until they actually start speaking to us about what's involved and what we can do and what they need to do with it all, I suppose. For those that don't know, this is Phil Bacon. Phil runs, you introduce yourself, then I'll let you do that bit just to drop you straight in.
Okay, yeah, so I run two companies now. Marketing Managed, which is our marketing agency, uh, focusing our attention mostly on the strategy end of the marketing mix, and then we have Martech Managed, which is only a month old uh, for custom app development, and also is the home to our marketing tech platform, which hosts a number of tools.
Yeah, I've used this
And
recently.
yeah, you've had access to a few of those
Yeah,
before the platform was put together.
that's the way to go. That's the way to go. So for those
So
that don't know,
there's
I've known Phil since I don't want to think now how many years. We go back to
it
when we
had a
worked
two in it.
in yeah. Well, I probably had a couple of one, two. We used to work on the same. We used to work in school IT support in different schools across the country, like miles apart. Who started up with a mailing list for customers of the same solution that we used, and then that became a forum.
Yeah,
And then that kind of, I don't think we've ever met before. I'm not aware of meeting you because you're like down south and I'm
no,
down south, but
yeah,
and we
we've
connected on
tried.
LinkedIn again. Yeah, we'll get there one day, I'm sure. And I think because we connected through LinkedIn all those years ago, when I started to see Phil's posts about marketing SEO and my business was picking up in terms of what I needed for my clients, like it felt like a natural link to reach out and have a chat again. So we worked on, I don't know how many projects now, but quite a lot over the past few years in terms of joint clients that
Yes,
come each way.
yeah, it's
It's not like dozens and dozens, but I would say there's a good 10 or 12 of maybe more than that, to be honest.
I'm probably creeping up towards 20.
Yeah, yeah. It depends on the
Just,
various stages of what they want.
yeah, because it's also very much depends on whether they want just something up front, sort of
Yeah,
like that stuff, like the search side of strategy before they go off and have their site built and designed and
yeah.
the copy written and everything, or
Which
whether they want something that's long term.
which is ideal. But there we go. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess that leads us in. I mean, I run Lightboard Design, which I'm now into my 13th year of, and a fair majority now of my clients do have work with people like yourselves in terms of search engine optimization, the ongoing marketing work, that type of stuff. That's beyond what I was doing 12 years ago by quite a far stretch. And I guess that I suppose that leads us into where we all start because people come to me and they say, I'd like a new website. And my question is always, like, what do you need to deliver for the business? And that then brings out the little bits behind it all. It's never about a new website. It's always about something they want to do within. They might want to grow, scale, get more customers, have a better professional, presence online or whatever it needs to be. And that's when that leads back to people like yourself, where like I don't do anything until we've got your input on that one. So I suppose as a first question, I guess when somebody comes your way from something like me, what's your, I guess, what's your purpose? What do you want to get out of them so that you know what you need to do to get them what they want?
so we need to take. So essentially, the first thing we need to do is we need to take them through our process, and our process is very straightforward. At that
Yeah,
point, it's what are your business goals?
yeah,
Ignore marketing, ignore the website, ignore everything.
yeah.
What are the business goals? It might be that there's a product launch coming up in 6 months' time. It might be that there's a need to drive more inbound leads. There might be a need for a, a rebrand. So,
Yeah.
okay, well, those are business goals. Now, how can we turn those into the marketing goals, which then lead on to what activities need to happen
Yeah.
to get to those end goals? And we go through and we step by step and we drill down and down and down and down, and we will ask questions that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, you do.
because you
I've been in those meetings.
and you don't want to answer them.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, some of them are very straightforward. It's like, where do you want to be? And then it'll be other ones will be, so what's the average order value? What's your average client worth to you? How long do people stay with you? It's all of these business orientated questions that we need to know the answers of to make sure that things are done in the right way.
Yeah.
Because from our side, we need that for running a marketing strategy, which then bleeds into other sub strategies for different parts of marketing. But you also need it for the website because you need to know how and where to pitch the.
Right. The joys of live streaming. I missed the last 10 seconds off you there. Maybe Zoom caught it and I didn't. Never mind. So I think
Um,
what I tend, not so much now, but certainly a lot of people do come to me with the belief that SEO is a one-off thing, or that it's easy. I've got a new website built. Can you do the SEO for me? It's like you've literally should have started there, because the work to unpick a website that's built to bring in what needs to be done to get it the way it needs to be is usually more than you've got doing where you've got to already. And it's like it's still get people that don't quite understand why, especially nowadays where it's not keyword driven in the same way that it used to be. You could just, yeah. Phil says I'm very choppy. I don't know why that is. So hopefully it's been recorded all right, even though I've got a really, really good internet connection, but never mind. Um, yeah, it's not keywords are important, but it's like people, you could just literally put that as your header on your page and you get found. But
but
it's just
the
way
things is,
too busy now for that.
everything changed
Mm,
again. Like middle of last year, it 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 was already coming. Everybody knew it was coming, but there was a lot of heads being buried in sand.
mm,
The shift has come because people are asking questions. Lo and behold, this is something. This is nothing new,
mm.
though. This is the same process that we've been going through for the last.
Yeah, the last. I need to get my internet connection sorted out. I'm not going to edit this, by the way.
Are
This is going to
answerable
stay
with the
live.
content on your site.
So again, we missed the last 10 seconds of that. But
Oh
yeah, I
dear.
think that's something I've seen a lot is people say, oh, AI's changed the SEO game. It's like it hasn't really if you've been doing it the way you've said there and answering the questions people are asking search engines. They're asking AI platforms the same questions. So if you've
Yep.
been answering them authoritatively already on your website, then AI knows that. So the people I've found that have lost out from AI are the ones that didn't do it properly in the first place. If they've
Yep.
done it right from
Absolutely.
day one, then they will get AI visibility much more easily than people that have never done it properly.
Yeah. The
Right.
other side of it is you that people that have just gone, oh yes, we're going to produce content. That's great, but the content needs to be linked. It needs to be internally linked. So once Google is on your site, it can crawl through everything.
Mm,
AI operates in much the same way. It's cataloging the pages on your site. If they're not connected up, they still can't be cataloged. But even more effort and more attention needs to be on the off-site mentions. So both the service-orientated mid-length keywords, but also your brand mentions as well, so
mm.
that and mentioned in the right places. So it leans into needing to look at PR, digital PR in particular, um, even things like Google reviews and
Give me an
um,
example there then, because I think digital PR to some people will be like, what on earth is that? What would that typically look like for, I don't know, a solicitor as a type of
at,
business type, I guess, or what, or anybody really?
at its most basic level, it would be things like commentary on a wider article. So you're brought in as an expert in
Okay.
a bigger piece that's going into, say, the Times.
Mhm.
And there'll be three or four people that have been brought in. There'll be mentions of your company name, there'll be mentions of you, and if you're lucky, it might include a link back to the site. If you're not, then you still get mentioned, and it's
Yeah.
your that adds power. Then you can also be releasing news through digital only platforms. In an ideal world, as soon as you start releasing news, you need to be looking at the full spectrum of the more traditional PR model. PR as sort of like a part of marketing is now so broad.
Mm.
It covers everything from your traditional press releases all the way across to stunts and um, social media and uh, big events and product launches and all of these different aspects all come into the PR mix in some way, shape, or form.
Because I see now
Which,
if I go on an AI chat or Copilot or whatever browser you're in, you see it flicking through the icons of the platforms it's looking at.
yeah,
And obviously, if you're in those platforms and it's looking through, because it will know which ones to go to for authority stuff, and
yes,
it finds you in there, obviously, then that's adding to its picture of, oh, they're actually a genuine business. They're there, they're talking about stuff, and that's how it brings it back to you, in terms of whether you get mentioned in the AI answer, which, it will do that if you get there, but it's certainly, yeah, you've got to be where. Not just where, like, still where people are looking. You've got to be where people are going to find you because AI is going to find you where people find you. But yeah, it's yeah, that's the interesting one. I think people don't seem to get that as a cost that has a return. It seems a little bit
yeah,
perhaps alien still to some businesses, but I know we often talk to them in the first. They often you ask those questions and they're like, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that before. I didn't even know that was a thing." And there's always a little bit of a light bulb moment to coin my business name in there at the same time that people haven't thought about before. And I think that's when even some of them still get a little bit because one of the things we talked about before I came on was like quick wins. And I know
yes.
your belief is that there isn't a quick win. There's very, very rarely a quick win in
In,
SEO and marketing.
in SEO, the chances of a quick win are slim.
Yeah.
It used to be that you could get quick wins quite easily because you're shoehorning a very specific phrase into your website and it would perform quickly. One, because Google would catalog it quickly, and two, because the competition was relatively low for something quite long tail. So a long tail keyword is where there are multiple parts to it. So um, Brazilian escort in Mayfair is a long term phrase.
Yeah, yeah,
And a client that I worked on at another agency, not my own, we managed to get them to the number one on Google for that within the first month.
yeah.
Um, it's a long tail phrase. It's niche,
Yeah.
very, very niche,
I do get
low competition.
people that actually think they've got good search results. I'm nosy. I go and look around other agencies that certainly around me sometimes in a further afield, and they're talking about how we've released this website for a client and their search results are great. And even the testimonial from the client goes, "We're getting great search results now already. It's only been out a week." I'm like, let me just check that. I'm like, you're not get like even 6 months later, you're zero flatline. But they're searching for search terms that nobody else looks for. So that's why they get found. And they think, oh,
Exactly.
on top of the
So
Google site, yeah, for what you search for as the business owner, not by what
it, it,
your customers are
it's
looking at.
not, yeah, it's not about you. It's about what your customers.
And that's what
Uh,
people
uh,
don't see, definitely.
exactly. And when we've been through this when talking to clients, it's like, oh, that's what you think you're being searched for. What do your customers look for?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
don't know.
And
I've
that's
never
where your
asked.
work comes in because that's what you find is what is actually going on out there. What are people typing into Google and AI now to find what you do?
Yeah.
And then that leads in from the next part from there, which is the content side of the website and the narrative that needs to present to not only get people to find your website, but also when they are there to help convert them into an inquiry, a sale, a customer, whatever that needs to be for you.
Yes.
Because again, that copywriting element is one that it's not so much, certainly for the people I work with now, it's not a hard sell because they understand it a bit more and they realize they can't do it. But again, it's like you go, oh, you're really expensive. Like I'm expensive because what we deliver works. You can pay somebody less, but they're not doing the work we do to get the results that you want, so you're not going to get them. And
Yeah.
that's where the likes of Hannah, she's on my list to interview in a couple of weeks' time for the same stuff. Her approach to merging your SEO needs with her skill set of that conversion and the reader focus of it as well. Like, welcome to our website, we are the best is like, nah, it's not going to sell anybody.
I mean, at
She
that
doesn't
point,
do
it's
that.
literally cool story.
Yeah, we flip that narrative, and that'll come out in the longer term when I speak with Hannah on this stuff as well. Because we won't touch the design side at all till we might do some scoping with the client of what we think is going to work for them as a concept. We're not going to build anything until
No.
we've got the copy back because the structure of all the pages is literally created by the content structure.
Yeah.
So for us to design a site and go, how does this look? And we've got, the content doesn't fit that now. We've got to iterate it 5 times to get it back, by which point the design doesn't work anymore.
Well,
And
the
that's,
design doesn't work, and also you've gone through so many rounds of revisions. People don't know what they're actually looking at
no,
anymore. It's so much easier to have a solid strategy into solid execution, and then finally go, oh look, now you've got all this. It's just it becomes a sprint at the end
yeah,
because everything's in place. You haven't got to go backwards and forwards and oh now we're looking at the design, we don't like the text. It's like no, that's the agreed text.
yeah,
This is what's going on the site.
yeah. It's certainly a process. I mean, I never used to work that way. I used to many years ago. I just used to ask the client, what do you want on your website? Oh, thanks very much. Here you go. That's what I've done with it. It's like there was not anything. I mean, I didn't have any negative feedback on that way at the time, but it's slowly really, it doesn't work that way for people when they want
No.
actual stuff results back. Um, and that's why, and that's why for me templates they don't work either because you've got to shoehorn the content into the pre-designed sections that the template gives you, which is
Yeah.
again, it's not on brand. It's just the colors match and we've matched your font, but that's about a lot of it, and there's a few picture
Yeah.
points in there. And
Well, the other thing there is like a template is there is a time and a place for a template.
yeah, there is.
Time and a place for a template is if you want to get something up and quick,
Yeah.
because your other option is to take it to AI and get AI to knock it up quickly, and then you have absolutely no control over what's going
Yeah, that's the
on
trouble.
behind the scenes. Is it loading quickly, which is a big tick for Google when it comes to search? Is it secure? Um, like, has it been? Is it actually going to render when it lands on screens? There are. That's just the sort of like the top three. Like,
Mm.
if any of those top three are broken, your site is unusable. Well, mostly unusable, or at least unreliable, which then creates a negative impression of you in the big wide world.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like, so at least if you're going to do that, just take a step back and go back to the template because at least the template will deliver something quickly while you're having the full site built.
Yeah.
And
I forget that
that's
one.
that is literally the only time that should really be being done if you're going to
So
take it seriously.
in terms of obviously, in terms of the process that we work through, we've got the SEO work done, we've got the strategy, we've got the planning of what needs done from there, we've got the copyright and the design, the website's built. What have you been doing behind the scenes up until that point? And once the website is launched, does that change what you are then doing going forward with them from that?
Yes, typically what we're doing sort of behind the scenes while the website's being developed is a lot of off-site work.
Yeah.
Or it depends on what the scope. Actually, to be fair, it depends on what the scope is. If they're going to be a long-term retained client that we're actually working with on growth, we'll be doing off-site work on search. We'll also be looking at other campaigns that can be run, so we can look at things like we'll be looking at social, we'll be looking at email, we'll look at how all these parts start integrating into the website. What campaigns can be run for what purposes, and that all then goes back to what was pushed into the strategy in the first place.
What again, this is something that people ask me about as well, is what is that off-site work? Because if people don't see past their website, they think a website is the only part that affects SEO. But I know
Yeah,
that the picture's huge in terms of how that all things away from your website affect the results that your website gets.
yeah. So a couple of core pieces. One we've already talked about, which is actually where AI comes in, which is the brand mentions and product mentions as well, is comes into that quite heavily. Um, and then looking at link building, which you'll get told one week link building is dead. Next week link building is alive and is needed. It's like no matter what, it is needed because that's how the internet connects with each other, sites with each other, and you want high authority sites to send you relevant links through to your site for the things that you want to be found for and known for.
Yeah.
All of that, it all comes back down to the same thing. It's this offsite chunk of work that goes on behind the scenes. It's harder to quantify because it's not as visible as, like, say, a blog or a piece of optimization on the site. But other things that we can be looking at is also then partnerships with other companies. And so, how can we partner one company up with another one so that they actually work together on a bigger piece of content that then goes out through like the PR side of things, and goes out to a bigger, wider distributed audience. It's the optimization of things like Google Business Profiles and other review platforms, making sure that it's all pointing to the right place.
Yeah,
it's looking at your competitors and working out where they're coming in from, where are they getting their traffic from, what are they ranking for, and it's monitoring that on a long-term basis so you can start to see trends. All of this work helps to inform the plan.
Because I know, like, we've got a joint client that we've had for a while where they stopped the organic search work and that type of thing, and then within a couple of months they realized their competitor had turned up and literally knocked them off the top spot, and they weren't even looking at it at all, and they were like, "Oh bloody hell, what's happened here?" And then they're back on board again because they realized actually we can't just drop off that because other people are still working on their stuff, and if we stop, they're gonna swap it across at some point.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, SEO cannot be seen as a short-term investment. No. It is a long-term investment that is not just 6 months long-term. You are getting into something that is a necessary part of the mix for you to be seen organically for the long term. It also has a massive impact on other parts of the marketing mix as well. So it's a key driver in awareness. It's a key capture point in capturing interest and capturing demand, because there'll be certain pages that are geared up towards interest and certain pages that are geared up towards demand. It's also got a part to play in conversion. It's got a part to play in retention, and it's just that bit there is gold. But then when you start looking at other channels, having well optimized organic pages on your website, if you're using paid ads and you're trying to drive traffic to them, your cost per click is going to be lower because you have a better quality site.
Yeah.
And if you want to bring in email, using email as part of your SEO mix might sound like a strange decision, but you're sending high quality.
Oh, you've dropped off again there. I don't know why.
Your site for a longer period of time.
My internet, I don't know. I don't know who this is, but I've just lost the last 10 seconds again, even though I'm on literally a gig, and I tested it before we started as well.
No.
So never mind. That's my joy.
So, so the email side of things, it just keeps it funnels good traffic to your site that stays around, which raises your profile with Google. So Google then thinks you're relevant for these certain things because you've sent traffic there. And that higher dwell time, again, pushes Google's buttons. If you've got a dwell time of 9 seconds on your website,
that's not
one, that's not good. But two, it says that your site isn't useful. It's not informative. It's not it's not relevant. So you're just not going to move. There's no movement then.
I think
you could have the best optimized site, but if the content doesn't match. And again, that's where Hannah's side of things comes in massively into play, because it has to be engaging, it has to be relevant, and it has to tell a story and sell a story. If you've got that bit, it's good. And then it's what tools do you use to capture people's attention and capture people's um, needs and wants and their capture the demand on the site.
Mm. I mean, I used to, when I say 12 years ago plus, you know, optimize for Google was what everyone was saying. And literally, I realized fairly quickly actually that you'd get somebody in as a client, you'd do the work on a website, which was almost, not quite guesswork, but it wasn't a lot of research on there because for the time it was local businesses where there wasn't a lot of competition. But then they'd come back in 6 months and go, nobody's visiting my website. Why your SEO's not working? It's like, well, and you realize actually you can't, it's not just that one time bit of work that, captures what was going on then. It needs to come back and keep working on it because as the other people come through. So I no longer sell it like that.
Yeah.
Like when you give me the plans back from that first bit of research work, it is absolutely transparent that this is the phases we need to go through for this, and this. Because if you don't do that, it's not going to work out. It's really clear that this isn't just a piece of we really like to do this work. This is what you need to do to get what you want at the end of it all, and to keep getting it all as well. Because as I say, that client of ours that stopped for a while realized that it didn't help them at all, and
Well,
they've come back to it.
so that's the other thing is like you're coming back. You've got to come back to it, and the research that we do at the beginning, we'll come back to that every 90 days or so
Yeah,
because we have to make sure that's live and real and current. It's based on the last 12 months, and that 12 months things shift.
yeah,
If something new appears, a new phrase appears that you're going to be found for, you need to know about that before it becomes somebody
yeah,
else's number one priority,
yeah.
so that you can stay ahead of the game. And that
That's
is,
the
I mean,
big bit of it, I think.
that's part of the sort of like the actual management of it. It's making sure that you're always ahead, like the client is always ahead of the game,
Yeah, which is, I
or
guess,
trying to.
the purpose of what it's all about now. And I suppose I realise that this will come in a bit in the future from my side of it. But there's a concept within martial arts that I teach that is literally, don't let the competitor get an upper hand.
Yeah,
It's like don't become the defender. You are always the attacker. And in terms of marketing, you've got to be ahead of the game to keep your game ahead. Because if you're not, you're then the one trying to play catch up, and that is always difficult to do because you're starting off the back foot then.
yeah.
Somebody else has done all the work. You've got to do that and more to then be beyond where they are. So that's certainly a biggie. Um, I suppose as an ending question, I suppose I'm trying to think what that would be now, but we both know that the people that we have worked with jointly have done really well with this. We've had one or two that even though they hit
Yes.
£1 million turnovers with us, they've tripled their closed sales over what we've done, that type of stuff, which is not insignificant numbers when we look at what we actually do see and we can't fully share with everybody else. But um, I guess the last thought might be something along the lines of if for someone that's not doing this now, what do they need to think about when they do approach somebody to ask about this type of thing? And I've just dropped you one
You've got a
question,
couple of,
so
yeah, and that's fine. So there's a couple of things. One, go into it with your eyes open.
I'll typically pause now for probably 10 seconds as well. I might ask you that question again. I said I wasn't going to edit this, but I might edit it. Hopefully it feels back in more than a few seconds, otherwise I'll do it myself.
Get the movement with that budget.
Do you want to can you do that way again? Pretend I've just asked that question again and it'll start again.
Yeah, and you can clip it.
I
Actually,
might leave
just
it.
ask me the question again.
What in terms of somebody now, somebody who's looking at this for the first time and they wanted to approach somebody for some SEO marketing work or whatever, what would you give them some advice as to how to approach that?
Okay, so it's a couple of parts here. So one, whatever budget you've got in your head, erase the budget because I it will set you up for unrealistic expectations by having that budget in your head. You might have a budget, but until you've spoken to some agencies,
Yeah,
don't fix yourself on that budget because actually you'll limit what you'll limit the possible.
that's fair. Yeah,
Um, and actually know what your business goals are. If you don't know what your business goals are, there nothing can line up with what you're trying to achieve if you don't know what you're trying to achieve. And this is a very, very common problem. So you have a business, but you've been running it yourself. You've never had to get somebody else's opinion on something. And then you need, oh, look, we need a new website
Yeah.
because our website is not good compared to our competitors. Oh, so we just need a new website. But no, you need an entire digital strategy to go with it
Yeah.
to support these decisions.
Yeah.
But
That's a fair one,
you need to
actually.
know what the business is and business strategy is and the business goals to get the marketing part to go with it.
Yeah.
Because that has a ripple effect onto sales, it has a ripple effect onto customer service. It's all like that business plan, that those goals set at the front end for the actual overall business it goes throughout the company.
That's something I definitely, and that is probably quite a common one again, is that they don't actually have them. They just think, oh, I want to be top of Google. It's like that's not a marketing strategy.
No, that's a
But
that's
what? What
a
do you want to be
that,
top of
that,
Google for?
that's a vanity project.
Yeah, it is, and it's I've had some interesting discussions that I won't be specific about because I think if they watch this, they wouldn't know exactly who I was talking about. But I've had some interesting chats with people over the years of their expectations of how Google works. I'm like, nah, it doesn't work like that. You can't just
No.
dictate what happens to it all, So there we go. I mean, thanks for that, Phil. I don't really
Well,
think like about anything that I want to ask at the end of that now. I think that last question was a good one. But if anybody watching, I will drop links to Phil's businesses in the description and my own, of course, because I'm biased like that. And if you've got any questions for myself or Phil or whatever, drop them in the comments or reach out directly, and we'll certainly be able to. Well, we'll do our best to help you out
yeah.
and get those answers back to you. But again, thanks for watching. Thanks for Phil for joining me, and see you next time. Thank you very much.